Let people see the technique. What's wrong? Come on.
So is everybody freaking out over there because the prime minister is still in ICU? Is that? I mean, that's got to cause a lot of people to freak out.
Mostly, what we have are arguments from people going, get well soon, Boris, and then people going, no, die, Boris. That's the thing at the moment because the left.
That's not a good look.
The left are very kind in their political outlook. And they just want him to die. Because to be fair, he was part of the government that did defund the NHS terribly, but at the same time, everyone should make the point. He's a father, a brother, a son, and a prime minister. Let's just go get well soon, mate.
He's running the show right now and doing his very, very best to coordinate to reduce as many deaths as possible. Thankfully, though, I think the people wishing death on him are a very small, hateful minority that are just very loud on social media.
Right.
I think most people are out there right now building temporary hospitals. Have you seen the Nightingale hospitals we've had? I don't get like this very often, but I was really fucking proud of my country seeing the time lapse of them building these. Like when you do you remember you saw the ones in China that were just basically portaloos with barred windows, and they were just death conveyor belts with a furnace at one end. The British one's bigger than that. Fucking phenomenal. Huge.
What was it? 4,000 beds per Nightingale.
It's crazy, man.
One in Manchester as well now, mate. The GMEX.
The GMEX, yeah. So they're getting massive existing buildings and just converting them at phenomenal rates. And thankfully,
the army are building them.
Yeah.
So, and you hope that they'll never have to use them. I mean, we've got. So, what was that?
They've already started.
I've already started what?
They've already started using the Nightingale hospitals.
Oh, really? There's already people in there?
Yeah. Only in London so far, but London's fucked, mate. London is fucked. It's its own island right now. It's like New York,
Yeah, but in New York, they built this gigantic hospital. I forgot, 2,000 beds or something. I don't remember exactly how many beds it was. And they set it up for the same thing. And I think I saw today there's like 65 people in there or something. There's not a lot of people actually in there yet. It's more just in case they get this bigger explosion, so they have the beds to put people in.
That's basically our position right now, because the models are putting it at sort of the next 2-3 weeks. Although in your country and our country, thankfully, they've been revised downwards now, haven't they?
Yeah, we're not accelerating in new cases or new cases that are tested. But I can't trust any of the figures. We've had the largest amount of deaths so far in one day. It was almost 1,000. But things I've been looking into over the last few days, I've been realizing fucking everything is being recorded as a COVID death.
Yeah.
Because doctors, if they suspect COVID, they sort it out that they suspect it's COVID. They put you on an expected to die notice where you won't be. It won't be referred to a coroner. And I know this.
Here's why that's Here's why that's bullshit. So if you are in a hospital right now, I think there's some studies in Italy that showed an insane amount of the healthcare professionals that were getting infected with COVID-19, because this seems to be just about the most contagious thing that we've ever seen. And if you're in a hospital, the likelihood that you're going to end up getting this seems a lot higher than if you weren't in a hospital, right? So let's say you go to the hospital and you're suffering, you had a heart attack. You might get a test and the test might show you had COVID-19, but when you died of a heart attack. It just so happened that you had COVID-19.
Someone who was famous.
I think it fucks up the data. I think if you want good data, the data should be, was COVID-19 the determining factor in this person dying? And if that's the case, it should count as a death. Otherwise, you just muddy up the data.
Well, that's what we're dealing with, isn't it? That's why Germany has such low figures, because they're not reporting most things as COVID. In the UK, it's all of these cases, all the old people dying in old people's homes, people dying at home, some dying in hospital. We had a comedian. He was famous in the 70s and 80s. He was in hospital, massive congenital heart failure. He was done. While he was there on his way to dying, he contracted COVID-19.
Yeah.
It was said to be a COVID-19 related death. This guy was going, there was no stopping what was happening to him. But because he contracted that, he went on the stats. My mother-in-law will go on the stats of COVID-19. She's never been looked at by a doctor.
Really?
Yeah.
She'll be on those stats.
A doctor hasn't even been in the same room as her. Never mind fucking tested her.
Right. Yeah. And I think that causes problems. It dirties the data, and